All right, just a little follow-up. We had a great opportunity this past weekend to go to Florida and play at a unbelievable venue against a very good football team. Felt like, for the most part, on offense, defense, defense and special teams really had a great week of preparation this past week, and felt like they carried over to the field. I thought they competed very hard. I thought they did a lot of great things together, played well each phase together. Guys weren't trying to do their own things, and I felt like we really improved as a football team on defense and special teams. Offensively, we didn't get our job done. We didn't do the things that we're capable of doing. We really didn't have a great week of preparation this past week. It was a good learning experience for them, understanding that it's one thing to, and it was an effort. I mean, you can get yourself up to play for a football game and get yourself excited and all of that, but if you don't have great preparation in the week and you don't have great execution, it's really a bunch of false confidence. And we didn't execute. And hey, it was a very, very solid defense. They're very well coached. They're very good at what they do. But at the end of the day, we didn't have a good enough week of preparation in order to compete like I would have liked to offensively this past weekend. It was a great learning experience. We had great meetings on Sunday to make sure we're going to correct any mistakes we had this past week of preparation and get a week better. Really looking forward to moving on to face a quality opponent and Rice. Very well coached. Coach Bailiff does an unbelievable job getting his players in the right positions to be successful, and they play extremely hard. They're not going to beat themselves. They're sound. And just another opportunity to go on the road versus a quality opponent and see if we get a week better, which I fully intend to do. I'm very excited about the opportunity to be participating in the Coach to Cure program this weekend. We'll be wearing the patches and helping to find a cure for MD. All the young men it affects. And this past year, they've done a lot of great things and research and getting different cures. But looking forward to being a part of that program. It means something to us. With that, I'll open up to any questions.
Talk a little bit about Rice. They've had a tough schedule to start, but it looks like they've got some talent throughout the roster.
Yeah, they have talent, and again, they're sound on both sides of the football, and that's again, their coaching staff does an unbelievable job. They're guys are extremely smart. They know their scheme, and they're going to be in the right position. They don't beat themselves. You're going to have to go in there and compete for 4 quarters, and you're going to have to make competitive plays against them to have any success. And it'll be a great challenge for us and a great opportunity again to go on the road. And right now, the saving grace for us is we're 0-0. We start conference play, and this week's all about getting better and hopefully becoming 1-0. And that's really what we're looking forward to and focused on.
Is the strength of this team those 3 running backs, Dillard and Stewart, those guys that have been there for a while?
Yeah, there's no doubt. They run the football well, and again, schematically, they do some different things that pose some issues to our defense, and it's our job as coaches to make sure we put the right game plan together to get our guys out there to where they're not hesitating, they're playing fast, not putting too much on their plate, and really just understanding what they do. And a lot of that comes with preparation of extra film study and getting those guys in there.
Offensively, last week, you mentioned your struggles. Did you feel like it was, obviously that's almost an NFL defense they're facing there. Guys are going to go on to the league. But you mentioned the preparation. Do you feel like they were in position but just outmanned, or was it a problem just not being where they needed to be to make the plays?
We didn't execute well, which to me means we weren't in the right positions. And that has to do with execution throughout the week. And that's our job as coaches to make sure we hold these young men to a high standard and hold them accountable and doing their job. We didn't have a good Tuesday, Wednesday, and I told them that. I told them that after Tuesday. You're playing to. You're not going to have very much success this weekend if we're going to continue to do this, and we're not going to have that issue anymore. I can promise you. We'll I wasn't pleased with how we prepared this past week offensively. So we're going to make sure we hold these guys accountable. They can hold us accountable. I promise you we're going to work extremely hard on the offensive side as coaches. And our expectation is the same thing for our players. We'll get you in the right spots. At the end of the day, you got to go out and compete, build that confidence throughout the week to where you know you're executing on a high level and take that momentum in the game. It's not just about getting yourself ready on Saturday. It doesn't work like that. That's what happens when force you to be a 1-11 team, and that's not what anybody here wants.
Do you think it's a matter of not fully grasping the scheme, or just lack of
focus? Has nothing to do with
focus?
scheme. They're not focused. I think immaturity, pure immaturity. We got to have better team leaders and better teammates step up and hold each other accountable. Again, it was the worst Tuesday I've had since we've been here. Worst practice offensively I've had since we've been here. And again, it just goes to show you. I mean, you got to prepare. You got to do it the right way. I mean, this game's too hard. They're all hard, and it doesn't matter who you play, where you're at. If you don't prepare the correct way, and you're not going to have very much success. And it's a great learning lesson. Now they look at me and they don't think I'm just a hard coach. It doesn't work like that.
There been a part of a game where you only came up with 54 yards. I mean,
there hadn't been a person in that offensive room who have ever got shut out. 2, I've never even heard of that. So no, I pray to God it never happens again. It's frustrating.
Coach, you had Eric Kina. He was able to pin Florida back a couple times with some long punts. How important is it to have a punter like that at your disposal? And what went in to him being named the team captain?
One, he's a great teammate, and in order to be a good leader, you got to be a great teammate. You got to do things. You got to set the example. You got to do things right, on and off the field the right way. And he's been exceptional at that. He's good at what he does, his craft. He works at it, excels in it, and we have a lot of faith in him. Did a great job punting the football. We knew they had dangerous return men, and we were going to have to do some different things to make sure we kept the ball out of his hands and let our coverage get down there to get guys in his face. They're very talented, and I thought he did a great job. And I thought, not only him, I thought Jared Combs, he was down there all night long. You talk about a big defensive end who's out in the open field running and making plays. I thought he had a heck of a day, and I was really he's not one of those guys who didn't have he had a great week of preparation, and he carried that over the field, and it meant something to him, and he was out there playing ball. Wasn't too big for him, I promise you. So I thought those guys did a great job on special teams for the most part. We had the one early on that, we muffed a punt early. We got to be smarter there. One, we got to make sure we get square, our shoulders square to the ball, our feet in the right position, but also we caught it inside the 10 and making sure that we caught it about the 5-yard line. And at the end of the day, that's just a young mistake, and we got to get better at that. We got to do a better job at coaching that, because it cost us 2 points right there at the opening.
Heading into this week, is Mason Fines still your starting quarterback?
Yes.
That's still something it'll depend on the game if you play out or not.
Yes.
Okay.
Coach, minus last week where offensive line had a rough practice, or the offense had a rough practice, how's the offensive line coming around with those guys that have been shifting around in positions and a lot of guys in new roles? How are they coming around here in the weeks that we've had?
Again, I can only coach off last week. You're only as good as your past performance, and last week we didn't have a good enough performance. So, again, right now I'm ready to move on to Rice. I'm really excited about the opportunity to go play them, and Florida is what it is, and we got to start looking forward and preparing for Rice and getting better this week and focusing on what we need to do to have success this week.
What is it you need to do better offensively to have some consistent success?
Execute. Simple. I mean, it's fundamentals, execute. I mean, if you got gap slide protection, you're sending you to stay on the wall. Your running backs need to have their eyes at the proper spots for blitz pickup. You need to press the zone. You need to attack different leverage on your routes. I mean, it's just simple, fundamental execution that we've done a decent job of, throughout practice. You got to carry it over the game. Again, last week it wasn't good enough, but in the past weeks it has been. We got to grow up and be better, and it has to carry over the game immediately. When you got a team that one maybe not has a ton of confidence or some immaturity, you put them out there in a game, they start doing their own things. Routes get sloppy, they start trying to just free will it, and it doesn't work. So you got to do a great job executing throughout the week of practice, build that confidence up, and what you do in practice, it'll carry over to the game. So that's what we need to do this week.
Do you anticipate personnel changes to make some of those adjustments?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, 53 yards of offense. I mean, you gotta start looking to see, making sure everybody's getting the opportunities they need to help us be the best that we can.
You guys open Conference USA play. Is this kind of a second opportunity here for you guys to restart?
The conference is what it does is get you back even with everybody. I mean, so you control your own destiny. All your goals are still in front of you. Now it's about preparing for each team weekly and taking it one step at a time, one game at a time, one practice at a time, and that's really where it counts. And you want to win every single football game you play, but the ones that you really need to win are the conference games.
What's your impression of Conference USA this year?
It's a very solid league. You look across, our league and the non-conference play. There's been some very competitive games, and there's been some upsets that people think are upsets that maybe it's just a more quality team playing another team. So, there's a lot of good football coaches. There's a lot of good football teams, great players. I think it's a very solid league, and I think this year there'll be a lot of parity, and I think people will open their eyes and see that it's a pretty tough conference.
You think this team can be a factor in the West and just the race overall?
I always think we can be a factor. I have a lot of confidence in our young men. The way they've bought in through the transition. We got plenty of talent. It has nothing to do with I don't do that. I mean, that's not. We have plenty of talent. It's about going out and executing, and making plays, and they just need to go out and again, we just got to keep getting a week better. Last week offensively, we didn't get a week better. We got a week better on defense, special teams. We got to get a week better. We can't take steps back.
Josh had that, the hit on the Florida quarterback on Del Rio. He ends up going out of the game, and that ended up being a kind of a contentious point there. And now it seems like Josh has taken a lot of heat about it, social media-wise, with what McElwain had to say after the game. I mean, what was your impression of the whole thing? After the game, you said it looked unintentional, like it just tripped.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because really, and that's why these people know nothing. They don't know anything about the kid, and that's what's frustrating because he takes it personal. He's an unbelievable person. And if anybody who was saying that thing actually knew him, they wouldn't be saying those things. He didn't mean to do it. He was playing hard. He was trying to make a play. And to be honest with you, if you look at it closely, he was pushing the back and tripped. He was on his way down anyway. And so there's nothing he could have done there's nothing he could have done. I mean, it is what it is. And I feel extremely I understand their coaching staff and his frustration, and that's their quarterback and that's their player. And we don't ever want to see anybody get hurt. We want a clean game on both sides of the ball. And my prayers before every single game are to take care of these players because they go out there and put it all on the line. And it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, I think afterwards he said that we've had a couple of those that's not fact. We haven't had any of those targeting calls. They started bringing up that we took out the SMU quarterback. No, SMU quarterback was in the open field running down the field, and he got hit. His cleat got stuck in the ground, and it is what it is. It's football. We're not trying to hurt anybody, and I feel bad for both those young men. I want them to get healthy, and trust me, and I'll tell you, as I'm going to take care of my guys too, and so no one's going to come over and yell at me or yell at our sideline and try to say we don't have integrity and we don't play the game the right way because that's just not fact. And so I'm not going to allow that to happen. But I will tell you this, just like every other week, I mean, my prayers are always with my players, always with the other team's players, and my prayers will continue to be for those young men, those young quarterbacks to get healthy and a fast recovery.
What do you tell Josh in a situation like that?
Just keep playing hard. I mean, you got to have thick skin in this business, whether you're a player, whether you're a coach, you know, on both sides of it. You know, when you do some really good things, people are going to really pump you up and, you know, say a lot of good things about you. And if you allow it, it'll let your head get a little bit too big. So, on the other hand, when you're not doing some good things, or maybe you have a poor play or a poor game or a poor whatever, people are going to tell you how bad you are. And so at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what people think. It matters what you know inside, who you are as a person, who you are as a football team, and really what matters are what are your teammates and what are your coaches and the people in this room think about you. Because at the end of the day, we're the one who have to go to battle together. And I love the way he's playing. I think he needs to keep competing at a high level, that high motor, and you know, they need to try to block you.
What's he like as a guy? I mean, I've talked to him a couple of times, but he seems like a very, you know, sociable, friendly kid.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, he's great smile. You know, it's infectious. Just a good teammate. I mean, he's works hard, doesn't say much. There's yes sir, no sir. Wants to get better.
And he's really helped you this year, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's done a great job. He's done a great job, and you know, he needs to keep staying in the backfield, keep putting pressure on the quarterback.
You guys have struggled on the road a little bit historically. Now, granted, you've only been here for one road game, and you talked a little bit about it last week. Do you sense that when you take these guys on the road this week that they're going to have that confidence that they can go out there and win on the road?
Yeah, I think they will. Again, last week was a great learning experience for sure. I thought, for the most part, we handled it really good. I thought overall we handled it good all across the board. I thought travel-wise. You know, but I didn't think we weren't ready to play.
Did you guys come out of that game fairly healthy? Or?
Really healthy, which is really good. So no injuries to talk about. I mean, everybody should be really good.
We're about to be in game week 4 we're in game week 4 of New Denton. Right now, what does New Denton mean to you that you've had a couple weeks to get these players in game ready for them?
Well, we got a lot of work to do to make New Denton, and so really what I'm focused on is we'll look up at the end of the year and we'll figure out what that means. I'm not focused right now on slogans or hashtags or anything else. What I'm focused on is getting this team a week better, and that's really what I'm focused with our guys on right now. So you tell me what New Denton means to you. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.